What has kept you and your husband going to date?
We communicate with God. In fact, when we're stuck, and because through the 10 years, I can't say that it's all roses. We've had our challenging times through the 10 years. But when we're stuck and we feel like we're about to give up, we literally both come together and talk to God and pray. And that helps, because then in that moment, you just feel some sort of peace and calmness. Aside that, we are quite active in reviewing our relationship. Say, for example, at the start, maybe every 3 months, we would have a review. What have I done that you think I can do better? What have I done that you think I should completely avoid? And we would write it down. So we are active about making this work. The commitment, we are active. It's not just all about love. Love is great. Love is the start, but love alone would not keep it. You have to put in the hard work.
Guys, I welcome you live on SVTV International. My name is Kíd.näppěd. Welcome on board. The voice of the world. This platform is open to you guys all. So wherever you are, you can just join us. My numbers are on the screens. Just WhatsApp me or send me a voice note that, hey, Nyame, I want to come on your show, and that's all. So we learn from each other. They share their stories, their experience, and all that. So link up, let's vibe on SVTV International. Subscribe to our channel, follow us for more. If you know anyone that wants to share his or her story with us, I mean, you can just link the person to me, then that's all that we vibe. So today, where am I going? I'm going to the UK. I have one beautiful woman on my show. Miss Tiana, I welcome you live on SVTV International. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. Yeah, welcome on board. You are in the UK, right? Which part of the UK are you?
So at the moment, I'm in Kent. So it's outside of London, but yeah.
Oh, okay, Kent. How long have you been in the UK?
So I first came to the UK when I was about 10, was when we relocated from Africa, from Nigeria. And then I left UK to Ireland, and then back to UK when I was about 19, 20. So maybe about, I don't know, 15, 16 years in between UK and Ireland. So altogether between UK and Ireland would be about 25 years.
Oh, I see. You were young when you left Nigeria. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to ask you too much about Nigeria. I mean, but I can ask a few. I mean, which part of Nigeria you coming from?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am one of the most popular tribes in Nigeria. Yoruba is one of the most popular tribes, if not the most popular. That's my tribe. I was born in Lagos, also popular city. I think, yeah, used to be the capital, but now it's Abuja. So, but yeah, I was born in Lagos. And yeah, lived in Lagos for the first 10 years of my life before my entire family relocated abroad.
Oh, that's nice. How many siblings you have then?
I have 6 sisters, so we are 7. I didn't have a brother. Yeah, all 7 girls.
Oh. How do you feel? You don't have a brother. How do you feel?
I don't feel any less, because now I have nephews, I have cousins. I had cousins growing up that were boys. So I think it was my mom that really wanted a boy. My dad didn't care. He was happy with the girls. But you know the way it is in Africa, you want to have a son and all that. But so she kept trying. In the end, she ended up having 7 girls, same mother, same father. But yeah, I don't feel that I've lost out on anything without having a brother.
Okay.
Because I have so much cousins that are guys.
Oh, I see. So let's talk about, growing up in Ireland and all that after moving from Africa.
Yeah, so for me, it was like a culture shock. First, the difference. So we moved to UK, and it was also a culture shock, but not as bad, because you have a lot of, obviously, black people in the UK. So I had my aunties, my uncles, you just have so many black people left and right. But when we moved to Ireland, I think I did a bit of primary education in the UK, and then moved to Ireland for secondary and university. It was at that point that I felt the culture shock a bit more, racism. When I moved to Ireland at the time, there were not that much black people in Ireland or in Dublin. For a few years, I was the only black person in my school. And I thought that I would be treated like a queen. The reason being that even coming from Nigeria as a 10-year-old, my dad was an airline pilot. He's retired now. So we were, and my mom had a supermarket and also a nurse. So we were, I would say, I don't know, middle class or slightly above. I mean, we were very, very comfortable. And I remember in my school back then, obviously private school, we had a lot of white people in school in Nigeria. You know, when I was younger, and I remember that they used to be treated like queens, and you know, they were special. And so when I came in and I was like the only black girl in school, I thought that everyone would literally worship me, like, oh my God, we have a boy, was I wrong. The amount of I was getting into fight every time. I started to hear words. Yes, I started to hear words like monkey, nigger, you know, things that I've never heard before in my life. Like in Nigeria, I've never heard of the word nigger or all of these words, like never. So yeah, it was horrible. It was just a lot of aggravations in the schools, a lot of, so it was just a lot of fighting, you know, racism. And so it wasn't the very best, but I still did well. I had good grades. But yeah, the experience wasn't the best, but now it has gotten better because you have a lot more black people there now. So there's still racism, but I think it's much better. Like, for example, by the time I was graduating from high school in Ireland, I went from being the only black girl. By the time I was graduating, we were probably about 8 black people in my set.
Wow.
So, you know, it
Wow.
had grown over time. And so by now, I'm sure there'll be like 20 or 30 black people in school. And so it makes, you know, it makes it a bit more comfortable. But yeah.
Wow. So did you go to uni or something?
Yeah. So I went to uni also in Ireland. The university experience in Ireland is completely different. I went to Dublin University, Dublin Institute of Technology. So it's Dublin, but it was called Dublin Institute of Technology, and I did pharmaceuticals. And I remember, like, with the university experience was quite different from high school. So at school we had international students anyways, so there was not as much racism. In university it was a whole different experience. And then I also did my master's you know, as well in Ireland. And so that also, it was a different experience because, like I said, it's just people that the mindset, they're more like they're more grown. So you had adults. The kids, in my opinion, are the brutal one. The teenagers are so wicked, you know, back then. But I feel like as you grow older, it's different. So university experience was fine. School was fine. Not the best, but it wasn't just I didn't experience that much racism at that point. Or maybe I was or maybe I would say I was better positioned to handle it because now I'm growing and I'm an adult. So even if I was recognizing it, I probably was able to challenge it a bit better than fighting when I was in high school.
Wow. So what did you study at the uni?
So initially my degree, honors degree, is in pharmaceuticals, so pharmacy essentially, but it was in 2 parts. So it was either as a pharmacist or in the labs. So I did the 2 together because I wasn't sure what I wanted to pick. So I did the pharmacy in the hospital, and then I also did the pharmacy in the labs, which is more about around the manufacturing of medications. I enjoyed the lab more than the actual pharmacy side of things. That was a bit boring to me. But yeah, so that's why I studied in terms of my honors degree. And then I did a master's in business admin because I just felt like I don't think I wanted to do pharmacy anymore or be in the labs or it just felt boring. But again, I did it because, you know, parents, African parents, everyone had to be a doctor or an accountant or a lawyer. So for me, they wanted me to be a doctor, and I had good grades, not enough for medicine at the time, but enough for pharmacy. So I went for that one instead. But it wasn't, I don't think it was really what I wanted to do. Left to me, I probably wanted to just be a singer or an actress, which of course is forbidden in an African home. So I did it, but after that, I didn't enjoy it. So now I don't actually work in that space. I did the master's, so that allowed for me to go into finance. So at the moment, I work in regulatory finance in the UK.
Wow. I see. I mean, talking about what you just said about our parents in the kind of things that we want. They don't allow us to do what we want to do, but they will say, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do. You waste your time, you waste your energy, and then you'll be doing the course or you go into that field, but you don't enjoy it. It's not your passion. I mean, it's not your calling. You don't want it, but what you want to do, they don't allow you to do it. I mean, what do you have to say about this? It's common.
Yeah, yeah, it's very, very, very common. I hear this all the time with a typical African Ghanaian. My husband is half Ghanaian, half Nigerian, and it's the
Okay.
same thing. Yeah, the Ghanaians, Nigerians, Africans. There's just that mindset around you getting the qualification, and they which is not too bad. But I don't know. I think it's just the mindset of, I think it's the migrants mindset that we're going abroad to be better, to be the best. So you can't come here and chill and relax. You must attain, you must attain the top of the qualification. So there's that mindset from our parents' generation, which we don't have. And then if you look at the Gen Zs, they don't need that, like especially the Gen Zs that are born here. They're like, why am I sweating? And but it's the same process where you would have parents, our parents, where
Mm,
when they came
mm.
here, they would work and
Mm.
send the money back home to build houses, build, buy cars, and they would never, some of them never make it back home. Some of them end up dying here. But it's just that migrant mindset of, we're here to work and get the best, and so they push, 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 and sometimes it falls, it gets thrown, like sometimes it doesn't work. You can push, 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 and then a lot of people have just done the qualification, gotten the certificate, and literally just give it to their parents. Like you can, and then I think it's bragging rights for African parents. They want to brag. My daughter is a doctor. Like it's for them more than you.
But did you ask your parents why they moved from Nigeria to the UK?
So yeah. My same thing. My mom just thought that the future was better for us
Mm,
abroad because of the way Africa is and where
mm,
it's been. My dad actually had a bit more, is a patriotic citizen. He had a bit more hope in that Nigeria would be better. And he's a pilot now. So remember, he's been all around the world. And he
yeah.
knows that there are so many countries outside better than Nigeria, but it was at the same time still had that mindset that Nigeria would be better. But my mom on my mom on the other side, we used to come for holidays, and she was like, the more and more we came to England, just like the more and more this is looking more promising for these children. So it was mainly because of us that my mom thought we should move to England.
Mm,
But then my dad just thought about Ireland. My dad said Ireland was a bit better just because to raise children in London is a lot harder. The gangs, and it's just a lot harder. But with Ireland, it's a lot more peaceful. It's a lot more quiet. So my dad
mm.
was like, let's stay in Dublin then. But I think that was the main reason. It's just for the future of the children and to give us better opportunities compared to if we remained in Africa.
But do you see the decision they took? Do you see it as it's a good decision they took?
Absolutely. I am forever grateful that
Mm,
they made that sacrifice, they made that decision to bring all of us here. I think at the time we were 4, and the remaining
mm,
3 were born here because we're all 7. But I think it was a great decision that they took to relocate us, because now is I mean, even the way the world is now, it's easier if you have that dual citizenship. It's, trust me, my
mm,
life definitely
mm,
where it is would not be the same if I had just a Nigerian passport or if I was just Nigerian. It's different. But to be dual citizen is like you just have better opportunities, more opportunities. The way you're viewed is different. You can achieve more things. So I'm grateful to them, for that. At the time I was sad, like I was leaving my friends back home, and I was facing racism, which
mm,
I'm like, what the hell is that when I moved? But now I mean, all in all, it's definitely better
mm,
opportunities, and I can always go back home and also help back home and invest. I have that opportunity, right?
mm. When last you visit Nigeria?
Oh, I was there in 2021
Mm, mm.
for my
Was that your
father-in-law's.
first time? Was that your first time?
No. This is not my first time. I was born in
After
Nigeria.
yes, after leaving, was that your first after leaving at
No,
age
it
10?
was my third time after leaving
Mm.
Nigeria. It was my
Oh,
third
okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay. So visiting, what have you seen? Your experience, what have you seen? I mean, you left there when you were young. So when your first time you visited Nigeria, I mean, I'm sure you also survey. I mean, what did you see?
Hmm. My brother. Hey, what I saw. I mean, for a start, the first time I went back, when I was, I think 17 or 16, I can't remember. I nearly got kidnapped at the airport, like
Really?
literally.
Why?
Yeah. I inside the airport when we were coming back. That was the first time after I left at about 10. At the airport, I remember like we were returning. Actually, it was on our on the return day, and I was looking for the toilet, and it wasn't just clear to me where the toilet was. So I asked, and one of the staff was like, "Oh no, the toilet is upstairs." Inside the airport. So my mom and my uncles, they were sitting in one corner, and they just left me to go to the toilet. And me, I just saw the staff and I was like, the toilet is this. So I followed the staff like just to show me. It was like, but I'm going there, you can come with me. It was a guy. It was like, oh, you can come with me, I'm going there. I followed this guy. And then the next minute, I had no clue where I was. I was inside the lift, but it wasn't when the lift would open. So the lift went just, I don't know, maybe the roof, or it was just not where it was not for passengers, right? So I think that was maybe for staffs or whatever. But the lift took us somewhere, and I'm like, where is this? Where is the toilet? And it was just like looking at me, but it was acting a bit funny. And anyway, the lift just opened. When the lift opened, I didn't know where I was. I just ran out of the lift. I was just like, so I was just watching, but I ran out, and where I was, I couldn't find the exit. There was no toilet. I had no clue, but I could see people on the other side, and I was calling them to through the, I think the glass was soundproof or something, and I was calling them to help me, and they didn't hear, they didn't move. But I don't know how God did it. I just found myself back looking for the staircase, and then the guy. Later, I told my mom, and I was with one of my uncle that was a soldier and a military man. So he went and he found the guy, brought him, and then he was now confessing that, oh, that apparently where he took me to has no sound, people won't hear, and they do all sorts of things there to people. I was just like, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to kidnap or whatever I wanted to do. But I was quite, the moment the lift opened, I was smart enough to just run out. And I was about 16. I was like, because I just knew that he was acting a bit funny. And I just thought that if you're going to show me the toilet, it shouldn't take this long. And then I left. So that was my experience the first time. So I always remember that. The second time was great. I went for my sister's wedding. It was awesome. It was like a carnival. I enjoyed it a bit better then. I was older at the time. I was over 18. So we were, it was almost like there's something they call a dirty December, where people just go to Nigeria for fun, the young ones. So I enjoyed all of that, like partying, and it was awesome. And then last 2 years in 2021, I went back for my father-in-law's burial, and that was also great.
Wow.
But in terms of the changes, it feels like not that much has changed in the way people do things. In fact, sometimes it feels like people are a lot more frustrated with the way they do things. Sometimes people are not following. Some areas is great where people would follow the rules. Some areas not so much. So
you think we have the laws, but we don't abide by the law. We don't obey the law. We don't practice it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are laws all over, but stubborn. We don't practice it.
Yeah. They don't practice or enforce it, and the ones that are supposed to enforce it are doing something else. Bribery, corruption, everywhere, like literally everywhere. I remember the last time, it was during the pandemic, and we went to one of the centers to do our test, the COVID test, before flying back to the UK in 2021, and we're all standing on the queue, and you're expecting, like, this is COVID. This, I don't understand. This is just normal. Like, we have a queue. Everyone has to get tested to return back. It's not a big deal, but people are still trying to come and bribe their way through the queue, and it's not even that much on the queue. It's just maybe 20 people. It's for health and safety. Like, why are you still trying to bribe people to? And then they came in, they bribed them, and then they brought a van of, like, I don't know, top people trying to go before us on the queue to do COVID tests. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I had to speak up, like, you're not going to do this test before me. I've been sitting here. I have my number. They're going to take their number, and they're going to sit and wait patiently for every other person waiting here. and they listened, because I don't know, maybe because of the way I spoke, I don't know, but they listened and they did not bring them before us. But it was just funny to me that this is common COVID test, safety, and you still want to use bribery and corruption to put some people ahead of those that are waiting, because those that are waiting are nothing. It's just crazy.
Wow. So let's let's go back to the UK. I mean, you were in the Ireland, and then after your education, you moved back to London again, or you moved back to the UK.
Yes.
Why? Why did you move back?
So I moved back because of marriage. As I said, I'm married.
Oh,
So my
okay.
husband.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
listening.
My husband grew up in the UK, you know, so
Okay.
we've been dating between UK and Ireland is not that far. So Dublin is about 45 minutes by air
Mm,
from London. So it's not that
mm,
far. It's actually quite close. So even though I was in Ireland, I was in UK almost every month, because I had family members here, and I just still, you know, so I was never that far away from London and Dublin. But
mm,
so my husband, obviously, we met here actually at Birmingham, and
mm.
so we were dating obviously at the time. So I was always in UK, and so when it was time to get married, I had to move back. I had to move back to the UK. We got married here, and since I've just been back here. You know.
Wow. So how did you guys met?
Oh, we met here. So we have a mutual aunt. So I have
Mm,
an aunt that is my aunt by blood, and she's also his aunt, not by blood, but by the African mindset of
mm.
everyone is your auntie and uncle. So she's more or less like a family friend to them, but they call her aunt, or auntie. And then for me, she's my dad's, you know, kind of like my dad's cousin, or
So
she's related to my dad.
the connection came through your auntie, eh?
Exactly. So it was at a party in Birmingham
Uh,
that I met
uh,
my husband. Yeah.
oh, nice, nice. Okay, so let's move back to the you being in the Ireland for all these years and moving to, I mean, back to London. I mean, let's talk about life in the UK. Now, you've been there for how long now?
So since 20, fully back, I would say about 15 years fully back
15
to
years.
the
Tell us
UK.
more about life in the UK as compared to Ireland.
I enjoy it more. I feel like UK, although there's still the culture shock that I'd mentioned, but or cultural differences, but I think it's better because I just feel like compared to Ireland, I felt that Dublin was a lot more limited to the things that you can achieve. A lot of Black people are not doing that great yet. They are doing great in their own rights, but compared to UK, like you know,
Mm,
it's the gap is different, but well, you know, I think they're catching up in Ireland, but the
mm,
gap is still, I mean, compared to how long Black people have been in the part of building UK compared to, you know, Ireland, so basically I feel like with UK there's a lot more
mm,
opportunities for people that look like myself, compared to
mm,
Ireland. Of course, there's a lot more money, it's a lot more established country,
mm,
compared, it's
mm,
bigger, it's bigger than Dublin. Dublin, like Ireland, is small. It's a very small country. I lived in Dublin, even smaller city
mm,
compared to London. So yeah, I felt like the opportunities in the UK were a lot more in London, particularly with work. What I was looking. Remember, I had switched from pharmacy to finance, and so when I was looking for a job, UK presented me more opportunities in the financial space and more money. And then, of course, my husband is here as well. So we just thought we'd just stay here for a while and see how
mm,
things goes. We might
mm.
move to the States, but we don't know yet.
Okay. People talk about things have changed now in the UK. I've spoken to a lot of people and say, actually, now things have changed. UK is hard. The UK is doing that, done this. UK has done this, and then taxes and bills and all that and all that. I mean, have you also noticed that? Do you think you are okay? I mean, people talk about stress. I mean, the target they want to meet, they are not getting it, and then they want to leave to different country and all that. I mean, your experience in the UK, do you see all those things?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you experience
absolutely.
all those?
It's crazy. The more you work, the more the tax is higher, and it feels like the more you work, the more your money goes to the government. So sometimes it's like you can work so much, but it's capped. What you're not getting the benefit of all the work. And as the UK, as you mentioned, with the UK, it's like work, 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 24/7. Like you work, and then it's like you don't sometimes even feel like you're seeing the benefit of the work that you're doing when it comes to the payment. UK is in recession. That was announced recently, even though it may not feel like it for some. It's in recession. The cost of living is high. Everything is crazy right now, and the tax is not even helping. So yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's not the best country right now, especially when it comes to working and putting in the hard work and the money you're getting. The gap is different, and that's why a lot of people are exploring other countries. United States, some say, is better. Just other countries where you can put in the work and still enjoy your money. But here, sometimes it feels like they don't even want people to be wealthy. Apart from the 1% of the very wealthy people, we, the normal people that you're working, because I work a very good job, but at the same time, it's like it's capped. It's like the more you work, the more it's like they're trying to just block there's that limit of how much you can achieve. Where if you were in a different country, you may achieve 3 times what you're achieving now in terms of income. But yeah, the tax are crazy. Completely agree with those that have said that.
This world no balance. Oh, this world no balance.
At all.
We are in Africa. We say, oh, this place is not cool. We want to go to abroad. When we get there too, we are complaining. Some people too are in America. The Americans are also complaining that America, they want to dual citizenship, they want to move out, they are traveling and all that. They want to go to different countries because taxes and bills and things are expensive. So everywhere you go, there is a problem.
Yes. Well, human beings are never satisfied. And so that's why it's important to be strategic in how you navigate, because like you said, you're always going to have a complaint, but I can't complain too much. Like I said, I'm working, but it's always good to just have a diverse source of income to pull through. Don't just rely on one basket. For those in the UK, I think that's the best way.
What about the stress thing? They talk about no source of happiness, no, only work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home. You don't have fun. I mean, it's a one-way traffic, and I mean, it's boring, sometimes depressed and all that. Do you face those things too as well?
For me, not so much, just because my family are here. Remember, I relocated with my entire family. I have aunts and uncles. Back, same thing. I have my parents in Dublin, but then I have my sisters here. So I have my own people around me. So I don't experience that. I have too many people around me, but I understand what you're saying, especially for those that have migrated as adults. Someone like I'm in my early 30s. So someone now and I have friends now that I've met recently from church and things like that, where they've just migrated and they're saying how hard it is to integrate, and it feels lonely, and they start to get depressed. So you're right. But again, I feel like when people are moving to different countries, you have to strategize, you have to plan, you have to put something in place. Don't just sell everything and come in and think it would be great, because like you said, a lot of people have died from depression, like literally, just literally in their room, and then the next minute, or work and die. I remember the story of a few men that were working, and then they just died in the toilet, in the bathroom at the workplace, because they're not taking time. So even if you're by yourself and you find that you're starting to fall into that dark, hole, you have to just plan, like take a break. It's like, and sometimes majority of these people, it's like they work like there's no tomorrow. You have to put breaks there. You have to. That's why in the UK, people don't joke with their holidays. They don't joke. You have to take time off. And I do that as well. In a year, I will try to travel at least twice in a year, to just recoup, to just, what's the word? But you get what I'm saying? Like, take time off. People don't do that. Us Africans, sometimes we think like we're like robots.
To look for money. So we are working looking for money to send the money back home. I don't know.
Exactly.
You want to build, you want to do this, you want to,
yeah.
I don't know how we want to live, but we come there, we work, then we send the money back home as well. But we that we move from our country to come and hustle to make money, but we don't enjoy the money.
Exactly.
But we send the money back to Africa. Then we are living where we are even sleeping. We don't live comfortable. I mean, most of our people do this.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why it is. They have to just, I would say, put a plan in place. It's not too bad to be a hard worker. It's great to work and it's good that you're hard working, but you have to put time in there where you can take time off, you can relax, you can spend time with your friends, you can meet people, you can integrate with people. Because another thing that a lot of us do is that when we migrate here, they stick to themselves. They don't want to mix with other, I don't know, cultures or race. You're in, like, you have to understand you've left your base is where you're comfortable. Now you're in a place where you're not comfortable. You have to be intentional about mixing with people. Like, try to listen to people, how they talk. If you don't understand, take your time, spend time with them, go to community services where you would meet people, you would meet the residents, the native of the country, and you start to integrate with them. And so that way you won't be by yourself. But some people isolate themselves. I don't know why. Like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to this one. I don't want to. No, you can't come into a different country and try to isolate yourself. That would kill you faster than anything. So you have to be intentional about trying to mix. And UK is a place that is like, it's almost like Africa, especially London. We call London the second Nigeria. It's almost, you're going to meet groups or a group of Africans that you can mix with in London alone. So, and I feel like across board in the UK, it's very difficult not to find the African community, whether it is small, but you would find. So you have to be intentional about that. Don't isolate yourself. Find those communities and start to also mix with them. Keep them as friends, talk to them. Yeah, and do activities.
Yeah, we need connections. So we need to mingle with others too as well. But Africans, when we go, we say, oh, we want where we can see our people, that we can eat our food, bono soup and all those things, fufu and all those things. That we meet at one place. So we are not connecting. I mean, we need to mingle with others and all that. It's a good thing you are saying.
Yeah.
But aside that, I mean, you said your husband is half Ghanaian. Have you been to Ghana before?
No.
But has he been coming?
No.
Why?
His parents are late, so it was his mom that was. His mom is actually the one that is Ghanaian.
Okay.
His dad is Nigerian, so he's mixed. So he's more Nigerian. He was born in Nigeria. So when they were younger, apparently they lived in Ghana for a while, and then they moved to Nigeria. But it's not completely in tune with that side anymore because mom has passed away.
I'm okay. Let's talk about raising kids in the UK. Now you have kids, right?
Yeah, I have one. I have a one daughter.
You have one.
Yeah, I think it's so for me that's one of the key reasons I moved outside. So raising kids in the UK is not bad, but I think it depends on the location. So I wouldn't raise kids in London.
Why?
Because I just think it's too. I don't like the setup for it, especially for blacks. Except if, I don't know. I don't like the setup for raising kids. I just feel like it's not the best. I don't know why, but it's not the best. I just feel like the way kids are raised, especially in London, I don't know exactly. I just don't feel that it's that safe to raise kids. I don't feel it's that safe. I don't feel like.
So you think it's much better raising them outside London?
I think so. I feel like London is, when I think of London, I feel like as adults, where you already know what you're doing, it's easy. You can come in and you have a mind of your own. But with kids, they don't have a mind of their own. So where they do, but I mean, growing up, they get easily influenced. And the caliber of children, because again, from parents, not necessarily children, but from their parents, different upbringing, and it's I don't know. I'm trying to avoid some things, but it's just not top notch. When I look at it, I'm just like, nah, this is not for my kids. If it is to work.
But you think it's better to send your kids back to Africa to get some training, to get some certain age, then maybe you bring them back to the UK. Do you think that wants to help raising kids in Africa?
I want to raise my kids where I am. Even if I'm going to send them to Africa, I want to be there. The problem with sending kids to Africa is you're not there. So you go leave them to teachers. Anything can happen. I have friends that when we were growing up here, they sent them back to Africa. They were born in Nigeria, came here, and because they were being naughty, they sent them back to Africa. They came back worse. They came back worse because their parents were here, left them in Africa to aunties and uncles that were maltreating them, left them to teachers that were maltreating them. So they came back with resentment for their parents. So I feel like even if I must take my child to Africa, which I get what you're saying because of the stronger hand in raising kids, for here you can't touch kids with, in Africa it's not illegal or whatever, but I must be there. So it would mean that I'm also relocating to be living right in that area where she's going to be going to school. So I can still be on ground for my child. So it's the same thing. But now with London, it doesn't mean I can't be there. I can also be on ground. But like I said, I just don't like how children act in schools in London. I feel like there's just been a lot of, the way you said, some of us are Africans, there's the cultural differences, and it doesn't mean that we don't still have that cultural differences in outside of London, but I just feel like with London it's too much. It's very difficult to try to navigate raising. Some people are raising and they're doing great, but it's just that influence that I'm worried about. And so outside of London, it's not that much. So I feel like I still have a bit of control over my child than if it were to be London. I don't know. That's just, yeah.
Wow. So for how long have you been married?
So I've been married for 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about marriage. I mean, I've been hearing, I've hosted a number of people that they are single mothers, separation, divorce, and all that. What has kept you and your husband going to date?
Number one is God. I know it sounds like a cliche, but we practice the same religion, Christianity. So we pray, we communicate with God. In fact, when we're stuck, and because through the 10 years, I can't say that it's all roses. We've had our challenging times through the 10 years. But when we're stuck and we feel like we're about to give up, we literally both come together and talk to God and pray. And that helps because then in that moment, you just feel some sort of peace and calmness. Aside that, we are quite active in reviewing our relationship. Say, for example, at the start, maybe every 3 months, we would have a review. What have I done that you think I can do better? What have I done that you think I should completely avoid? And we would write it down. So we are active about making this work. The commitment, we are active. It's not just all about love. Love is great. Love is the start, but love alone would not keep it. You have to put in the hard work. It's literally daily commitment to one another and trying to avoid things that each other don't like cheating, which is one of the most popular reasons for breaks in marriages today is infidelity. That's one of the top causes. So we look at those things as well and try to avoid them. Violence, whatever is on the list, financial issues. So that one of the things that we also, so there's so many angles with the finance. So, but if you look at the top 5 reasons why people leave relationship from infidelity, we've promised ourselves as much as possible not to do that. Violence, we've promised ourselves. My husband, luckily, is someone that would just walk away. He's like my dad. And we have great examples as well. My parents have been married about 45 years now, and vice versa. Wow. His parents have been married for, I don't know, before they passed away, close to 50 years. So we have great mentors and great examples to know that we can also try to do it, but we just take it one step at a time and try to avoid it. So, for example, financial issues is another big one in marriages, and so we just try to manage that as well. We're both working, we both have income, we both have our personal money, but at the same time we have joint expenses, joint savings for projects, and so we just try to tackle those things, one at a time and just make sure that it doesn't get too much or that we can't handle. And that comes from reviewing the relationship. But it's active work. I feel like it takes 2 to break or make a marriage. It's the only reason it's working is because of God and because we both put in the hard work. If one person refuses to put in the work, that's the end of it.
It's communication. Communication is the key. All what you are saying bounce back to communication.
Effective communication.
But I heard when you are two, you can easily make it than being a single parent.
Absolutely. It's true. It's definitely better than one. Like a lot of the projects that we've achieved today on properties, I would say it's because I'm married. Like I have friends that are also trying to do it by themselves. Because even though I'm married, I married quite early, so I'm not that old. Like I said, I'm in my early 30s. So I met my husband at 21. So I'm still I have young friends around me that are single. Are not married, and it's fine. The age, they don't have to be married for 10 years like me. But the point is, I see even as a single person, not even a single parent, like just single person, trying to achieve, things. It's a lot more harder for them than the way I would achieve that. But again, because I'm doing it in conjunction with my husband, of course, it's easier. So yeah, I think it's better. I think marriage is great if anyone is interested, but you have to find someone that is equally ready to commit to you. That's the only way it would work.
Are you doing any business back in Africa?
Not me, but my husband, because I've been burnt not once, not twice, not 3 times, trying to do business in Africa. So right now I took time off.
Some of your experience. I mean, you try to go into what?
Properties and lands.
Properties. And what happened?
I don't want to say, but
I don't know. Let's tell us. What happened?
No, I was like, because my husband, because again, remember, I was born in Nigeria, my husband as well. So I feel like our mindset is slightly different from those that are born here, just a bit. Like if I were to compare with my sisters that were born here, the mindset is slightly. So what I mean by that is because I was born in Nigeria, there's still that mindset, a bit of trying to invest back in Nigeria. So for example, before buying our first property in the UK, we try to buy and invest in Nigeria first. Someone that was born here may not do that. They would obviously want to invest here first, I think, for those around me at least. So we did that, that mindset of, oh no, it has to be Africa. And we tried it a couple of times and invested in properties, invested in lands, and nothing to show for it. It was just, yeah, and we did everything. Trust me. Like even I remember at the time, my mom, my parents visited Nigeria to make sure that everything was done correctly. The documents. Yes, we did everything. But you see, in Africa, you have another person that will have power than you. The politicians. They can just wake up one day and take those places. So it was just I started to get frustrated with the entire process. The first time I was just like, okay, it's the first. Second, by the third time, I said, I'm not doing anything for now. I can support, but I'm not actively doing. But my husband is, so technically we're both doing, but I don't get involved in the conversation. No, so I lead more on our projects here in the UK where I live. So we started to invest here in the UK in properties and things, and I lead that more, and then I allow for him to lead the African one. Oh, not allow it. He decided to lead the African one, and he allowed me to lead the one here. So for now, yeah. I'll leave Africa like that for now.
Doing business in Africa without you being here or not present or not you not being involved doesn't really help. I mean, doesn't end well. Don't you think that's the problem? If I want to invest here, I want to do something here, I must be here to give myself time to get involved in the business. I've seen quite a number of people that they are involved, that their business is moving well and all that. But if you are not here, you don't have time, and you are sending money for people here to do it for you, that's where you get the problem. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. That's one side of things. But in our case, one of us was on ground. My parents at the time were also with another of the investments were on ground. My husband was on ground, and it still was just not as smooth as we would want it to be.
Frustrating, eh?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not as I prefer, because that's what we're saying about the laws. We have the laws, but it's like you can have somebody in Africa come and override you and the law and everybody together, even if you're on ground. So, I mean, I saw recently of a guy that had invested so much in properties in a very popular area in Nigeria. and he was making videos of how the politicians, the same thing, took over. He had everything. He's on ground. He's not here. He's living there, and they're taking it right in front of him. We experienced something similar to that. Not me personally, but my husband was there. My mom was there at some point. So it's like, what? I don't have to be there to know that it would be exactly the same thing, you know. But you're right in the sense that when people are here and they're sending money back home, I don't advise that. I always say try to be on ground, because that would be better for you. Definitely, people that have made, you know, success, I've said they had to be on ground. So I think that would be better. But I always also advise, if you're going to be here for 20, 30 years, also try find something doing for yourself here. The idea of just sending everything back home and you never even go back home, or you die here, somebody else would be enjoying your, I don't know, properties back home. So try to make a balance. So I always say, if you're going to live here for the next 20 years, within those years, try to do something for yourself here as well. But don't forget back home. Also do something back home. But some people prioritize back home to here, and that sometimes doesn't go as planned, and that can affect them. They become homeless here, but then they have mansions back home.
Let's talk about investing in the UK. What advice are you giving us? Is it in properties or other ways?
Oh yeah, there's so many things to invest in, but again, for me at the moment, it's properties. I enjoy properties where you go on auctions, you get properties, and you have to refurbish, you know, rebuild the properties, sell them. You can do find buildings where you can create multiple occupancy, and people can come in and rent. Airbnb is also another popular one when you have those properties. You can buy outright and resell after a year. There's, you know, there's so many when it comes to the properties that you can also do in the UK. So I enjoy those ones more and I'm on ground. So you can, for example, when it comes to the auction and picking, you're on ground to go and select the ones that you want. And you just, you know, hope that it's not that damaged. Though I've never experienced a situation where it's so bad that we couldn't recover the house. But yeah, things like that, I feel like it would help. A lot of people have their own businesses here as well. Like they have side hustles, you know, in the UK that they're also doing aside their 9 to 5. So yeah, just if you have skills apart from the investment side, because for me, investment is more of properties, but I'm also just thinking about skills that people used to make a lot of money here compared to back home. A mechanical engineer here is making lots of money.
Talking about a skill is very important. Most of us, we come there without no skill.
Thank you. That's the thing. If you have skills, that would take you, because again, if you think about the way the future is going with AI and technology, you won't have any jobs if you don't have skills. Like the robots, the AI will take all the jobs, and the way tech is going right now, you know, the office jobs, 9 to 5, all of those jobs are going to go away within the next few years, because there are AIs that they're building that will take over. So the human side of things, that's where the skills comes in. There are still some skills that you would need to acquire that AI probably would not be able to do, because it's still, I don't know, building a house, for example. I don't think AI would be able to do that, or tech. That's one skill, building. Fixing the car, I don't know if AI, hairdressing, I don't know if AI would be able to do all of that. So skills is very important than ever before, if we think about it now, in terms of making money in the Western world. Because tech is taking over completely.
Wow. What are you telling us, those who have the mindset of coming to the UK? You are in the UK, so I mean, a lot of people have moved to the UK. Some are selling their properties to come and start life in the UK. Some get disappointed and all that. What are you telling us? Is it worth it?
It's worth it, but you have to do your work. You have to do your due diligence and think about, strategize as to how you're going to make it work for you. Put some plans in place. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So put some plans in place before even leaving. I've heard stories of a lot of people just selling everything back home to come here, and they're shocked as to, you know, when they resort here and they find out that it's just work and home, and it's difficult for them. So I wouldn't even say sell everything, sell all of your life, because you never know, you may need to go back home, you know, to just even recover before coming back again. So, but strategize, think about exactly what you want to do, how you want to, when you get to that country, the laws of the country, what would it, because for example, part of the laws of the country, depending on how you get in, you might not even be able to work, or you might not be, you know, some people have limited, I don't know so much about the actual process because I came in as a child, but I've heard that, you know, some people would say you come in, depending on the documents, you have limited hours that you can do. And you now want to come in and you realize that the limited hours you can do is only just to feed you. So what's the purpose of selling everything that you had back home? You're now here,
but
you have the limited hours to work just to feed.
But one funny thing, we sell our properties to come there. When we come there and we start making money, we look for opportunities back home. But when we are home, we don't see the opportunities. But when we move there, then we want to invest back in where we came from. Why?
Exactly. You saw them. So it's like when you move,
those abroad see opportunities in Africa. But we are here, I know it's hard. Some people don't have it at all, but some people too have money. They are okay. But they will sell their stuff and then they will come there and later they want to do business in Africa.
Exactly. It does. For me, I never understand. Like, I don't even think it's bad. I think it's great to want to invest back into where you're from, but it's just balancing it, understanding that you're here now, build something for yourself here, for your children, for your family. I have people that moved there, like I said, maybe 30, 40, like uncles, 40 years ago. They've been here for 40, like even before I was born. And then I come here and they're still like, there's nothing to show for it. Why? Because you feel like, oh, everything has to be back home. But you're still here 40 years, you're still in England. 30 years, you're in England. So what's the point of building back home when your children are 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds? It would be great if you had started to invest so that by the time they're growing up, they can take over the properties. They can, you know. So I don't know, but I feel like it's a mind thing. And people need to, you know, reorientate their mindset when it comes to moving abroad. It's great. I feel like there are better opportunities. It's not that what we have in Africa is not here. Don't get me wrong. We have corruption. We have bribery, you know. Of course, we don't have electricity issues, but the key issues that we're facing, we have better infrastructures if we were to compare. But again, when it comes to some of the things, they do exist here, but it's just subtle and underneath, right? But you have to also understand that the challenges the Western world would give you is different from the challenges of Africa. For a start, racism. You start a job, you're doing better, but they want to keep you in that same spot. They don't want to promote you. What do? So you have to think about all these other challenges that will be different from what you're facing in Africa before coming to any part of the any other country, and see how you want to navigate. You have to, it's something that you must strategize about, you must think about, and you must put plans in place. Okay, I'm going to come here within the next 3 years. And integration is great. You don't want to come in and not, if it is to get new qualifications, so that you have something doing, you can be, you know, so that you're not stuck in just one place, you know.
Miss Tiana, thank you so much for coming on my show. Any last words, any
it's
advice or any shout outs that you want to give to your people out there?
Yeah, it's been great conversation. Thanks for having me. I hope to join another time, maybe on a different topic, or you know. Yeah. But it's been great. I grew up here, and I feel like it's great to be you know, to, like I said, to have that opportunity. I'm grateful to my parents and God, you know, for the opportunity to be here. But I also understand, as adults, if you're moving, you're looking to move abroad, it's great, you can do it, but just put your plans in place before moving. Don't just follow the crowd. There's something in Nigeria they call jackpot. Jackpot is literally just everyone wants to just follow everybody and leave. No, take your own time, sieve through the countries, find the, you know, perfect one, vet the countries the same way you would do when you're vetting a partner. Look at all the countries, look at their laws. How is it going to favor you when you move here? You know, and put your plans in place, and hopefully it works out for you. But let's also have hope in Africa. Africa is going to get better.
Well, are you planning to relocate in future back to Africa?
Did you say, am I planning to relocate to Africa?
In future?
No. But I would go to Africa a lot more. But I don't have plans to relocate to Africa. Not for now.
Tell your husband to bring you to Ghana, eh?
Yeah, we have Ghana on the plan actually. I'm supposed to go in May, but I'm not sure yet. So that's why I didn't want to put it out there. But yeah, I have plans to go to Ghana very soon.
So do you guys prepare your local food, mono soup, agusi, and all those things?
Oh yes, we prepare a fori roll.
You know how to prepare it?
I know how to. My mom is a typical African woman. So even though we grew up here, you would speak English outside. When you get home, you speak Yoruba. We cooked all Yoruba food. We didn't cook British meals or Irish meals. It was all Nigerian meals. So I know how to cook. All of my sisters, we know how to cook every single thing. And we understand our language and we speak our language as well, Yoruba.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you so much for coming on my show, Miss Tiana.
Thank you for having me.
Any shout outs?
Shout out to everybody out there trying to live a positive life. Keep going. And remember God in all that you do.
Nice one. Thank you so much. Your social media handles, maybe people want to follow you.
Yeah. On TikTok, I'll put the TikTok one there. TikTok is Tiana Missy. So basically Tiana, and then Missy. It's one word, but it's literally Tiana Missy. I do conversations actually on TikTok. I like to refer to myself as a conversationalist. So podcasts and things like that, different topics I do on TikTok. So you can follow me.
Okay. Nice one, Miss Tiana. Thank you so much for coming on my show. Have a great day. Live on SVTV International, guys. I hope you enjoyed our vibe. If you want to come on my show, my numbers are on the screens. Just WhatsApp me or send me a voice note. I say, Nyami, I want to come on your show. I mean, it's open, freestyle. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you tap on subscribe and share. Invite your friends to join. Drop your comments and watch out for more. Thank you so much. Peace out. I'm out.